Hey there, wonderful people of the internet. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, I'm Rio and this is my only second video ever on YouTube. Yep, that's right, we're still in the honeymoon phase. Before we dive in, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who watched my first video, liked it, left wonderful comments. I was just blown away by the positive messages I've received, and I read them all and I answered them all, and wow, it's just a great feeling. Thank you so much. All right, let's go to my second project. So for this project I used Twyla as my main base because she was thin, small and had a perfect face, which was super important for my crow doll. And as always, we start off with removing the hair and the original face of the doll with 100% of Aceton. Maybe I'm crazy, but this part is always so satisfying. And here she is. I'm always using second-hand dolls for my doll repaint, so this girl came with no hands, but it was totally fine because my crowd doesn't need any. And you could see before that she had a little hole in her forehead, but we will take care of that later as well. Thanks God this time we don't have many body modifications as the last video. So I placed a wire into the joints of the doll. And after the hot glue was cured, I could use some Apoxie Sculpt to sculpt the crow feet. And as always, my girl needed thicker thighs, because thick thighs saves lives, doesn't it? And a thicker bum. After the epoxy cured the next day, I checked out a lot of crow feet pictures on Pinterest as a reference, of course, and they helped me a lot. I mean, everyone knows how a crow looks, but how does a crow feet look? Thank you, Google. So for every toe, can I say toe? I'm using a wire so the epoxy has something to hold on to, and slowly trying to figure out how to make the crow feet look the best. As always, I'm trying to put a lot of details as possible to make it more and more realistic, of course. And while our feet cures, let's start with our stand, shall we? This time I'm using air dry clay for my stand. This takes around 2 to 3 days to fully cure, depending on the thickness, of course. And I want my crow to stand on a tree trunk. And of course, as always, you can use some water if you want to smoothen out your surface. But this time, I don't need anything smooth. And my tree trunk looked like this for now. And back to the doll. One feet was fully cured, and the second feet I wanted her to grab the tree trunk there, so I always had to recheck with my stand and how to reshape the toes. One toe left. And let's add our details for the second feet. Of course, let's not forget the boobs. Perfect. And the next morning I had a visitor. This cutie little monster, Rice. She's so adorable. After the epoxy fully cured, it was time for the part I don't like at all, sanding. After that, it was time to paint my doll, finally. Unfortunately, I didn't have the color purple yet for my airbrush though, but it doesn't matter because I know how to mix it. Well, you guys already know how to paint, so let's start with the wings. I used a black fabric to draw in my desired wings of size and shaped a wire to its form. Afterwards, I glued the wire between those both sheets to create a base for my wings, where I can stack up all of those beautiful feathers. I twisted the end of the wire and pushed it into my doll's armhole with some superglue on it. And of course, I need a second wing. And finally, let's get to the funny part, attaching all the wings. And I found these beautiful feathers in my craft store and I was blown away by it. And if you think that a blue-violet crow doesn't exist, do your research. Also, don't forget to do the back side. Also, I need new scissors. And here you can see the wire I attached to the doll's arm. And let's finish her up. After all the wings are done, I can start body blushing her and creating shadows and highlights for some realism. And I really think that this creates a huge, huge difference if this is done correctly. Also, let's not forget to give her some clothes or we will get banned from YouTube. And now it was time to give the bra some color. I wanted to do the same for the bottom part, but it just looked weird when some blue hair came out of her slip. Yeah, you know what I mean. It just didn't feel right at all. And now she's getting some shoulder pads out of feathers. And I swear at this point I had feathers everywhere. On the floor, on my PJ, on my hands, plus stick together with superglue, and yeah, it was a nightmare. And back to our stand. Let's give it a little bit of a color. As always, I started off with brighter colors and afterwards I'm doing a dark brown wash mixed with some black in it. After everything is dried out, it's finally time for decoration, and of course I'm still using green and blue tones to match with my doll. and some decoration stones for the bottom. And our tree trunk is done. And finally the hair. I asked few of my friends if red hair or blue hair would fit her better, and everyone said black. So we went with black hair with some blue highlights in it. I really have to admit, doing hair is such a struggle every time. I just cannot do it correctly, although I'm checking out so many instructions, but it's just so hard. Or maybe the glue that I'm using or the hair that I'm using are just not right. I don't know anymore, honestly. I'm just trying to wing it somehow. And finally, my favorite part, the face up. As you remember before, she had a hole on her forehead. That's why I gave her this emblem, just to cover it up. I wanted to give her a very fierce look with dark red eyes and a serious look to her, but I wanted her still to be very beautiful and sexy. And if you ask yourself, why a crow? Well, crows are known to be incredibly intelligent, resourceful, and sometimes a little mysterious. This is the kind of vibe I need for this channel. Plus, they have this reputation for being super curious and collecting shiny, interesting things, which is exactly how I approach my content, so it fit just perfectly. Plus, I'm hearing crows every morning when I wake up, so it had to be a crow. And after the face-up is finished, I'm just using a little bit of micro powder just to give her a little bit of a shine and also make those lips and that emblem shine. Don't forget to add some lashes. And the face-up is done. And I found my ring in the drawer and it just fit perfectly. It's hers now. Now I just had to body blush one more time because I felt like I have to create like an ombre effect between the thighs and the feet, and it looked really good at the end. For the blushing, I used blues, pinks, and some violets and mixed them all together as well for some parts. One more black wash for the feet. And the crown was complete. The only thing was that I had to wait for the hairspray to dry. But she was done! Yeah, that's me again trying to straighten her hair with some spray and some water. Wow, that hair! It just loves to keep me occupied. I really hope that you guys like her as much as I do. Here is a little close-up of her. And as always, here is a little sneak peek of my sketch. And as you could see, she originally should have a beak. And I did that as well, but when I put it on her, it didn't quite fit. And I had the feeling that it hides her beautiful face and the makeup I did for her. Also, a few friends told me that this is a bit unnecessary because she's already having so much accessories on her. So I left it out. I don't know if that was a good or bad decision. What do you think about it? Well, I guess it's a wrap. Thank you as always for flying by today. And I hope you really enjoyed this little adventure with me. I cannot wait to read all of your comments again on this little monster here. And feel free to stick around for more questionable ideas and unexpected outcomes. Well, take care guys, and see you on my next weird project.